I have it on mute, guys. That's why I'm working out bugs right now. Okay, so sorry about that. We have to find a new way of doing things. Um, I have to use another device to read the chat right now because there's some whatever it is. I think it's the the like Explorer or whatever that I'm using that's messing with it. So I'm sorry, but I think it's still going to be better. I turn the other lights on. That should be better for shadows, I guess, because it's in front of me, not behind me. So JD, hopefully you can do that. Um, so I can go back. I can kind of read some questions on here. The reason why there's no sound is I don't want you guys, because we were talking, I didn't want to give away or you guys to hear certain information. That's the only reason why. So um, that's that. So uh, I'm gonna go to Chrome or Firefox. I'm gonna do that. I'm almost 99.9% certain that the next time we do it, that's what's gonna happen. So um, we can start talking now about whatever. We can talk for a little bit. I've got to get that guy on the phone with my brother in a minute though. You want the goods? What goods do you want? I don't have any goods to give you other than what Vinny said, uh, which is that it's nothing major according to all sides, the Raiders or the Sands group, that they're negotiating. Everything is on according to plan, going to schedule. They said it's a negotiation, but we said that last night. Common sense, right? So um, that's what it is, I guess. My lighting needs to be adjusted. Maybe I'll turn off that backlight. That may help. Hold on. Now I look like a ghost. And I know it's much better. You can see me now. Too pale. Anyway, I want to thank uh, Will to Win for all the help. That's big time. That's clutch. That's clutch night. Um, no, I didn't listen to it all day. What did JVT? What did he say in the lot interview? I honestly I left the house for a few minutes today, but not too long, so I didn't listen to ESPN. I don't think they were even on the air when I left and came back. What did he say? I'm looking at the chat box too, so I can answer whatever it is. Or I can just ask JVT to send it to me. Well, that's all Ronnie Lott is. That's all the middleman, right? That's all he is. Like this, let's be logical about it, right? Why the format change? uh, Part of it is because I can actually get paid off of this. If you guys like wanted to donate or whatever to it, I can actually get paid off of it. But secondly, I can leave stuff up here and I can ban people, and gives me a little more control and a little more gives me options. Um, it allows me to expand myself a little bit. So that's the format change. And at the same time, I can also if I wanted to have like Carolina on, or for my brother or somebody else, I can invite them on, and you could see them in another box, and you could see and hear a chat, and we can do like real interview and things like that. So Why would I ban you? If you look, here's the thing. I'm not watching Thursday Night Football. I watched it for the first quarter, and it's so bad. Jacksonville sucks. Gus Bradley may not make it the next 2 weeks. They're that bad. But seriously, the rules pretty much. I don't care what gets said as long as it's not threatening, as long as it's not race related, as long as it's not you know just the common sense stuff. Okay, so I actually like the fact that people have their real names. It gives it a more personal feel. Yeah, USC in 40 minutes. I'm looking forward to that. I like when they play Cal. I like when they play Cal. I think it's a good little, well, not really a rivalry anymore, but I like when they play them. I think they have a good, wholesome. They usually have good games. Very rarely are they blowouts. I mean, they get the year that they beat them when USC was ranked third, and then they get them the following year, and Aaron Rodgers was 24, 28 or something like that. He just souffled that defense. It saves in your battery in your phone. Me too. That's the other thing. I can keep my phone handy and not, if people call or text me, I don't have to stop and look, in the middle of it, or if they call, I can hit mute on this, keep it running versus get off and do something. You know what I mean? So this format gives me and gives you guys a little more options, and that's the big thing. It gives us more options, and that's what you want to have at this point. I want to have a little more options and in availability. Oh, by the way, this one, A&W cream soda. There's a sponsor for this one. And the comments stay on so I can go back and look, so I don't have to answer 3 of them every second. Someone asks something and I have to try. I feel like I have to try to respond. I can go back and look at it. That's a good thing. So, and it's more accessible to people, family and friends too. And that is a big thing. They can jump on it and do whatever, comment, be a part of everything. I could even have them come on and not tell embarrassing stories because they can get hung up on them. So we're gonna go for like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. What are questions? Yeah, subscribe too. I can get Vinny on. Absolutely. Get Vinny on. I have no problem getting Vinny on. We have to work out the right time. I know he's on with Fred and Eric Dickerson from 11 to 1 or something like that, 12 to 2. But yeah, subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the page. So that would be cool. You want my brother to give you the lowdown when he's on? Lowdown on what? Lowdown on what? Like that, what do you want the lowdown on? It's not like he hasn't even. What you see is what you get. He'll jokingly tell you I'm an a-hole, and then he'll probably say, nah, for real, like my brother's a good man, good husband, good father, things like that. He'll probably talk about baseball, me throwing the ball, how hard I could throw, more than a lot. He won't talk about anything else. We have strict rules for each other and for public speaking. We can't embarrass each other publicly. No sibling rivalry at all. None whatsoever. About Jason, it's weird. Jason gets some things that nice. Jason says some things and has some things on there that You know, he gets from different sources. Like he's got different sources. Period. Vinny was adamant about certain things that Jason reported that kind of contradicted it. Not saying Jason's sources are wrong or Vinny's is right or vice versa, you know, or even mine for that matter. So um, I don't know. You know, Jason has been right about a lot of things. So, you know, that may be one of the the things that's going on. I don't think he's going to draw it out, but you know, he's threatening. But it is a negotiation, and that's what he's doing. We all know that at this point. Hey, I seen Death tweet out that someone made a meme of him crying. You guys know anything about that? Not saying that. I'm just not behind that. My sources haven't said anything about that either, as far as pushing it out 18 months. But those could be stay in the Bay type people, truthfully, because isn't that what like Death and the rest of them were saying, that they're going to push it out a year to next year's, which would be a year and 6 months from today. So if you read timelines, that could be where some of the stuff's coming from, is some stay in Bay people. That may be their plan, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to last that long. I don't know if I want to see it. You know, even with the one that was made about me, I thought was funny because it was poorly done. If someone was going to do that, like they could at least make me look like Pitbull or something, put some sunglasses on me and like a fake tuxedo or whatever. Make it at least funny. But I don't know. March at the latest, yeah, I think so. Again, just like in any business, there's three types of rules. And Carolina, you know, doing what you do for a living, you have optimistic, pessimistic, and realistic. Uh, I think optimistic again is January, pessimistic is May, and realistic is March. Expectations. Why wasn't the deal in place? Because they know they it's not that they're not that far apart on things. Okay, Mark and Adelson pretty much agree on a lot of things already. Remember that relationship goes back Adelson and Mr. Al Davis. So that's a 50 plus year relationship, 45 at least plus year relationship. Um, so there, it's a lot of little things. I don't look. I'm not gonna sit here and use big words to describe things. Bottom line is, there's a lot of minutia that they have to go through, and they got to make sure that it's sufficient for the league and sufficient for Adelson. Because at the end of the day, Marcus wants the stadium. He knows he's going to make money, and he wants to do what he's got to do. So it comes between the league and Adelson. Mark is just in the middle. I think that can be safely said. And why wasn't it done before legislature? Um, I think it was, but there were things that the legislature had to adjust that Adelson maybe expected, but they had to go back to the drawing board. So, and I think a good example of that would be the TIF. You know, that's like 15%. I think that's what he lost on that. So they got to make that a little adjustment. He is a businessman. He wants to make his money that way. So I think that's part of it. The sociological side, I see that it is very interesting. That the dichotomy of what's going on and the people involved, from the owner to the billionaire to the politicians to the average fan to the reporters, and the interaction between all. I think it's very intriguing. Carolina just said what I said. They'd rather have had the vote pass and have their ducks in a row and work out the little stuff, details prior than not have it and then they're at the door holding an empty bag of candy, saying trick or treat, but it's November 15th versus October 31st. You see what I'm saying? They'd rather go there knowing they have a bag full of, go trick or treating on Halloween with a bag full of candy than go a few weeks later and asking for candy and not getting it. Just keep them coming. Aldon Smith in a few weeks, we'll see. That last stunt that happened right around the draft time or a little bit after or during, that would be something that the league's going to look hard at. But Mario Edwards is getting real close. That's going to be one. That's going to be huge for the Raiders. 25, yeah, 27 million roughly. Yeah, that's about right. I called the roller coaster. D-Man, to be honest with you, it's not that I called it. It's just I've been through it before. Guys, here's the thing. Oh, you listened to it? I hope you liked it. I hope you like it. And I appreciate you listening. I've been through this before in LA. The whole process from the Ruta to the Tuta and everything in between. I've been through it. So I know kind of what's going on. I can see things happening very similar to what the Rams went through. Now, it's different because when the Raiders were involved in Carson, a lot of people thought that they went into that meeting with Carson being the project that they wanted to get done right away and they were going to get approved for. But I was told it never was the case, but some reporters were told differently. What does Adelson hope to gain by negotiating in public? What public pressure could be placed on Mark or NFL at this point? The same thing the NFL did to put pressure on him and the politicians to get it done. They all are billionaires negotiating. Adelson is a tough negotiator. Andy Abu eloquently spoke to that today. He's just letting them know, I think the pressure is, I'm letting you know, you don't mess with me. I am richer than your 3 to 5 biggest owners in the league when you combine their income, their net worth. So I don't think that's I think that's what it amounts to. I'm not gonna play your game. If you're gonna play by the rules, let's play by some rules. But don't try to screw with me. I think that's what Adelson is pretty much saying. D-Man, you love Yusuf Sanchez. I'm still skeptical, but I am a UNR alum, so not exactly rooting for UNLV. Look, who on UNLV has draft potential? Lotu Lele, Kenny Keys, the center, McAleenan. The Lotu Lele and McAleenan are linebackers. Kenny Keys is the safety, obviously the center. Devontae Boyd, the receiver. Hall, a defensive end. Those are all guys that could come out. Those are guys that could come out this year. I don't think Boyd does, though. The Goodell overstepping with stadium. Everyone's happy. Domestic violence. JD, when it comes to Roger Goodell stepping, he's just doing his job as far as what he's trying to do, pit Oakland against Las Vegas. And he's doing his job. He's doing what he does, okay, what he's paid to do. Are the owners happy with how he's making the league live with domestic violence? No, I don't think so, but I actually don't think they care. They only care when it gets brought out publicly. So because of that, I think you're going to see some stuff in the new CBA that they're working on. You're going to start seeing some more harsher penalties for domestic violence. Um, I do like this, and I think Sanchez is the type of guy that you have the potential to have a guy that has a Pete Carroll type impact on this program, an Urban Meyer at Bowling Green type impact on the program. He is a guy that doesn't panic. He is a guy that takes things in stride, that has a plan. He sticks to his plan. The players believe in what he's preaching. I think that that's very important to them, and that it's important to him, and he knows they're important to him. I'm a big believer in Tony. Why don't teams own this domestic violence? Uh, what do you mean as far as own domestic violence? Look at the bottom line is this: all professional athletes, all of them are nothing more than the same jocks in high school that messed with us. Well, not me, I was a jock, but that messed with people that had a really funny and sick sense of humor, and now they're just bigger, faster, stronger. That's all. That's all it is. I personally feel that because it's been covered up for so long in sports, and nowadays, everybody has a cell phone. TMZ's everywhere you look. Reporters are all trying to break or make a story. I think that in itself is what actually is a determining factor with things. So I don't think that. I think the access that people have now is shedding more of a light on it, and now women are speaking up, and that's something that they didn't do in the past when I think they should have. You really have to read the original articles to get Rogers' quotes accurately. Please read them, guys. You'll see Goodell is really not championing for Oakland more than calling them out. I would agree with that. I mean, I think behind the scenes he's really trying to. I think he's really trying to like get them to do something, but I'm not in those meetings. I can just again, you get told things from sources, and you got to trust what they say. The league needs to adopt Mark Davis' stance. Yeah, and that's the thing. Somebody had said early in the year that the Raiders should go after Greg Hardy, and I laughed at that and scoffed at that. He's the type of guy. Why would Greg Hardy be that type of guy? Mark Davis never has taken a stance or taken a guy that would have some type of the baggage and the background that Greg Hardy had, ever. So no, teams are not making moves until it's the fans, and then expect the league to make it right. Well, here's the tricky slope with any case in court, domestic violence included. My wife could say I beat her, and she could bruise herself, and she has bruises, and I get arrested. Now I'm suspended for X amount of time because of the accusation versus actually being found guilty. And then it could come out that she lied, but then I missed 8 games and X amount of dollars out of my check. That I'll never get back. So they have to take a wait and see approach. But the Josh Brown case and Ray Rice was just egregious. And that's what's horrifying. That's what's horrifying about it. I don't think at any point a man should put his hands on a woman. Defending himself is one thing, but not out of anger or because whatever the reason. Okay. That being said, it's time that the NFL stops painting this picture that they care so much about this, because the bottom line is they don't. Just because they wear pink for 4 games and raise money that they give, I believe it's 10% of only 10% of the profits to breast cancer awareness. Why isn't it they keep 10% and give 90 to it? Because they make a ton of money. Because the NFL cares about one thing and one thing only, always have and always will, especially under Roger Goodell, and that's the almighty dollar. And that's sad, and it's shameful. I can be a little more honest than these two. You were classified as an eating disorder. That's funny. Let me answer this text. Oh, I had 4 texts. I didn't even realize that. All good. You don't hear much about the same violence in other leagues. No, you don't. And I think part of that too, the reason why you don't hear, I think they do a, um, well, repost it then, Kenny. Um, I think the other leagues, in particular baseball, do a really good job of covering it up. And guys aren't around their wives nearly as much, excuse me, as NFL players. NFL players are at home 5 days out of the week, travel for one, come back, play a game, and come back. Baseball players are gone 115, 120 days out of the year. That doesn't include spring training. And NBA players are gone a hell of a lot more. Same with basketball players too. And the violence of the sports too. I mean, football's a violent sport. So you're supposed to play with rage and anger and passion, but yet you can't have that same type of conversation with your wife. Um, you know, then you get pissed off and hit her. You know what I mean? So I think that's all part of it. DeMarco Murray hurt. Hope it's not bad. But no 1,200 yards. Sorry, Mariota. A lot of it. And honestly, the league doesn't do a good job of testing for PEDs at all. The PED testing is not good at all. So there's a lot of things being used by players nowadays. There's no way some of these guys are as big and as fast as strong as they are, and they're not on something. There's certain things that's not in the CBA to be tested. It bothers me that I can't use my freaking chat box. Ryder said that 2 teams leaving home markets consecutive years is not a good look for the NFL. I think he would really like to see Oakland get something done. Good job, everybody. Welcome, welcome. That is crazy. You know what though? It doesn't matter what he doesn't like them moving, but he also knows that it's good for business. Really good for business in terms of the new stadium and the attention that it brings and everything else like that. So yeah, I think it's not a good look, but I also think they have backup plans. Is Polian done in Reno? Well, I heard Rocky Long is retiring from San Diego State. This will be his final year there. Polian, this is his first bad year, if I recall. I mean, he's pretty much built that program up. If he were to go, if I'm Tony, I'd bring him in some type of capacity with the school, from a recruiting standpoint or an offensive standpoint. He may be able to see some things that others don't. Plus, his ties to the NFL. Kids are like that. Believe me, that gets talked about with these high school kids. So I don't know if Polian's done. I don't think so. I think the only change will be San Diego State, who's probably going to win the Mountain West, ironically, and that's because he's retiring. I mean, it's what his third year there, and he's had two pretty good years, and then this year is just kind of a blip. I don't know my guy from UNR. He may think that I'll have to. He may know more than I do. Um, you don't think he's anti-Vegas? He's just rooting for. I think what he's doing is making sure that he has his. What'd you spit out? Oh, um, I think he's just making sure he has his ducks in a row for Oakland. He's giving them every opportunity so they can't say at any point the NFL didn't try. Oakland is going to put it on Mark Davis, just as the Raiders are putting it on Oakland. But the people who won't get blamed is the NFL. So when the blame game gets played, they won't look at Roger Goodell and say, yes, guys, if you just signed in or you're trying to sign in and you're watching it, click to subscribe. More subscribers, the better. We have like 30. I know we have 30 something. Let's try to get. I'd love to get to close to 100 within the next week or two. So tell a friend. We'll get all the little kinks worked out too. I know my guy, the shoe plug. The shoe plug is he's trying to get in. All right, Carolina, I'm owning you. I'm holding you that 124 hours. Oakland seems like great leverage. D-man, very astute observation. A very astute observation. Do you think the NFL wants to have a major market unavailable to hold over other teams to move to? Or would you rather have that open market and then you can move them there, threaten them to move there? Expansion team in that market or in any market, you're looking at $3 to $4 billion probably for an expansion team. Let's say the Raiders move to Vegas and the NFL and the Chargers move to LA. Okay. Let's say this happens. Do you think the NFL would expand by 2 teams to San Diego and Oakland and make that $3 billion per team? So $6 billion that 32 owners will split. And then, do you guys know with the relocation fee, and I believe this is to be true, but I heard that when Mark Davis or any owner pays the relocation fee, I know it can be spread out, but they also get a piece of that pie. That's crazy. That's crazy. Getting some of that money back. Got to reach out to this guy who covers UNR, because you're the second person to ask me about whether or not Polian's going to get fired. I'm not sure. I don't keep up with them like that. At least make them drive up the price on each other. What the two? If the league's going to expand, they're going to go by 2 teams. to make it an even amount. They won't go with one. The only reason they went with Cleveland that 1 year was it was an odd number of teams, and they promised Cleveland that they would get their team back. So it'll be by 2 teams. Every time they expand, it's by 2 teams. Look at Carolina and Jacksonville, and others. The business side of sports is interesting, but it's very dirty. Very, very dirty. It's tough. It jades you at some point. Like, the last year's contract extension or dismissal. You know what? I would agree with that. They may see what he does the first few games. Just like with Fresno State, they wanted to see what DeRuyter did. And Jeff Tedford's a done deal there, by the way. They'll make that announcement in mid-November, early December. The problem with London is they have 16 games. There's 16 games a year, right? Teams traveling across over there are going to have a bye week the following week. So 8 games out of the year, teams have to have their bye week. Okay? Who wants a bye week 1 or week 2 or week 3? Unless you're playing New York, Buffalo, and New England, you know. And then they have to fly over to the States 8 games out of the year. Not to mention the preseason. I just think there's a lot of logistical problems with London. I think Toronto and Mexico City are better options. But DeRuyter, with him being fired, Tedford's the guy. George Takata and Fresno kind of peeped out there Sunday. But it's the 2 guys they expect to replace DeRuyter. The 2 names that they're talking about are Tedford and Lane Kiffin, as I said. Kiffin, there's a lot of reservation about him because they think he'll be there 1 or 2 years and bounce for a bigger program, where Tedford has ties to that program, as does Lane, but Tedford also has ties to the athletic director and would plan on being there long term. UNR has never been much of a success outside of all. So I would agree with that. Chris Ault did a really good job there. They do need to show some patience. That's the problem. And that's my issue with coaching in general. You look at most schools, by the end of the 3rd year, if that coach hasn't won more games or he doesn't show some type of improvement or whatever the case may be, they fine. Charlie Strong, a good example. He had to rebuild a very, very bad Texas program. This Texas team is young and talented, but they're not well coached. But that doesn't mean that Charlie Strong is the problem. The problem is the assistant coaches. He's failed at hiring good assistant coaches because the head coach is the CEO, but the assistant coaches are the ones that develop the talent. And they haven't done a good job of that. And he's not showing patience because he's feeling it. Kiffin the Boilermakers. Yeah, I actually talked about that on the podcast a little bit. But I'll say this. If you give a coach, I think every coach should get a 6-year contract. And by year 4, you should know what you have. Because you still have the other guys. Year 2, it's your freshmen. Year 3, those freshmen are sophomores, and year 4, those guys, your first recruiting class, are juniors for the most part. That's where you'll know what you have. If USC didn't show patience with Pete Carroll, they wouldn't have had the dynasty they had in the 2000s at all. If Saban didn't have the support of Michigan State, he wouldn't have been able to go to LSU and then Alabama. So you have to, you kind of weigh those options. But you can also tell early on if you made a good hire by the coach, by just his interactions. Who do you guys see replacing Gus? Because that dude's getting fired. Hot name. It's got to be a guy with offense. What about the dude? Now I know. Now his name. I see his face. New England's offensive coordinator. I forget his name. He was Denver's head coach when they drafted Tebow. That's true, D-Man. That there was some racial stuff going on there. But look at his recruiting classes now. God, dog, I can't remember his name now. New England's offensive coordinator. He was McDaniel, Josh McDaniels. He did a good guy for Jacksonville because he can get he does with quarterbacks, and that offense isn't that far away. I mean, that'd be the main one, unless we go in the college ranks. But no, it's way too early to tell because you got to see who the hot names are. Maybe Jim Bob Cooter. He'd be a good one in Jacksonville, too. You got to get an offensive guy in there because Gus is a defensive guy, and you got to go the opposite of that. So I would say McDaniels or Jim Bob Cooter, who's got the best name in all of the NFL. Jim Bob Cooter. Who says Bill's leaving anytime soon? Yeah, I'll take that job. I like that he's succeeding in Texas too, D-Man. I'm a big believer in Charlie Strong. Look at what he did with Louisville. Here's the problem with Texas. The fans and the alumni are unrealistic with their expectations. I know we will, man. I appreciate your help too. Format's way better. I agree. Way smoother. Appreciate the fix. You thought the box. I respect. Yeah, but the Texas, he was going to get fired in Cincinnati. Sadly, and he doesn't deserve it. He turned that franchise around. But when it comes to Texas, Charlie Strong has to deal with an unrealistic fan base and alums. Yes, especially Texas. Hell yes. They expect that. They think, I mean, they hung on to Mac Brown 3 years too long. The guys he recruited just weren't good football players. And those guys are leaving in their final year now. And that's what Charlie Strong had to deal with his first year. He's got a freshman quarterback with Buechele that he can play. I'm definitely on board with him. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's the other thing too. Texas thinks they're the biggest, baddest in the state, but let's be honest. If Art Briles was still at Baylor, that team would be humming right now. I don't like what Art Briles did. Don't get me wrong, but if he was still the head coach there, that team would be humming. Texas A&M, Sumlin's catching a bunch of Texas A&M. Sumlin's catching heat. So Sumlin's catching heat for what? because he's is it because he's African American? He built that program back to respectability after R.C. Slocum. R.C. Slocum, if you got him. A&M, or excuse me, Texas Tech, chucking and doing. So, yeah, Texas has this superiority complex, like Michigan, like USC, like Notre Dame, like Ohio State. They're programs they're historically proud programs. So they feel like they're entitled to win and be good all the time, and that's not necessarily the case. I'm buying lap dances. No, I don't go to strip clubs anymore. Lap dance Vegas style. Jeez, I couldn't tell you the last time I was at a strip club. It's been that long. When I was younger, yeah, we every Friday night we'd be out having some fun. But now that I'm old, nah. You weren't lied to. You said you're gonna get me 100 people. So I said, okay, you got it. I said 2 weeks. Let's get people to do it and get 2 weeks. Does library still exist? I don't know. Kelly at yeah, yeah. Oh damn, your bachelor party was here. Don't talk about it. What happens there has to stay there. The crazy horse. Um, that may be an interesting if and when the Raiders come. Interesting Saturday night. Make sure UNLV game isn't on, and the party's there. That may be interesting. But we got to have midgets for Ed. We got to have midgets for Ed, though. Oh, you'll give him a. You'll give me a plug, please do. Cheetahs. Hey, what's up? Long Raider, IE. I love that. I'm from the IE. I'm just letting you know. I'm the IE. That's home. Raised there. Graduated from high school there. IE is home to me. I love it. Yeah, someone did, but that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. That's funny. I've never been to a tailgate in Oakland, um, but I would imagine so. I would imagine so. JD, you couldn't be the punter though, because Marquette King would be right with us partying, turned up. Oh, shut up. I have to walk in with a couple bottles of beer and brandy and Bushmills Irish whiskey. I actually thought that, Carolina, but I wasn't gonna say it. Polish can. I'm not Polish though. He's really done a lot with his career though. Honestly, he went from being the party boy at Florida State and getting suspended by Bobby Bowden, which is hard to do, and uh, even with the Raiders early on, to look what he is now. He's the veteran, savvy veteran kicker that can still kick it 50 plus yards. That's great. You know what I love about the format? The fact is, you guys can communicate better with each other in the chat. I think that's dope. I like that. If I burped and you heard it, excuse me, by the way. This cream soda is coming up. Oh, jeez. It's all right. Okay, I love the fact that it's all Raider fans. That's great. But like, we can't make every one of these about the Raiders, especially it's inside the Rebels. Like this one could be because it is the kickoff. It's the unofficial. We'll do a kickoff show tomorrow, but like it has to be more well-rounded. What do you guys think about a USC Cal? That starts. I got to get out of here in a minute. USC 48-28 USC. I think Darnold's going to just go off. You're going to send a Tom Raider fans your way? What does that mean? I'm lost on that night. All right, cool. Hey, all sports, because what do you guys think about this? Let me ask you guys a question. Oh, a ton. Oh, okay, my bad. That's why I was like, what's that? What do you guys think about this? When we do the Inside the Rebels podcast, because for me, and I talked about this with Mark Seidel yesterday, I want to continue doing the podcast where it is 90, predominantly UNLV centric with football and then when basketball starts. But I do want to touch on other sports and things as well. I do want to touch on that. Like we touched on this week, we touched on Josh Brown, we touched on the World Series, we touched on the Team Newton Murphy, even though it's a UNLV topic, but we touched on a bunch of other topics. I think that's good for the show. What do you guys think about that? D-Man asked me if I'm going to cover UNLV football. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this weekend I'm going to lock down the UNLV basketball writer, hopefully, for Inside the Rebels. Oh, guys, boom, boom! Forgot to tell you, I'm gonna give you guys the inside scoop with something ahead of time. Okay, for everybody in Las Vegas. For everybody in Vegas and everybody that is going to be here for interesting. Wow, that's interesting. I want to retweet that. So for the UNR game in a month or so, if you're in Vegas or you plan on coming to Vegas, try to come for that game. We're working on something. We're partnering with ESPN out here. We're going to do a Inside the Rebel ESPN Rebellion tailgate at Sam Boyd, and we'll give away tickets. And I guess we're going to big ass tailgate all day. Um, that is something I want to get everybody out there for that, because to be honest with you, this past weekend I was quite disappointed with the turnout. It was a 2:30 game after an exciting week. Um, I would love to get everybody out there and really just have some fun. Yeah, Carolina did. Arash Markazi, I'm gonna read it. I know Arash, okay. Larry Scott, the Pac-12 commissioner, said he's monitoring the stadium developments in Inglewood and Las Vegas as possible future homes for the Pac-12 championship game. Uh, yeah. Hey, Kern, is Kern in? Is Kern in the chat? Oh, D-Man, we're going to keep that thing nice and red. He couldn't chat as he signed up. Hold on, guys. I want to get him on because he. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out a way to get all these guys over. Yeah, the cannon looked nice and rebel red. It looked good like that. Sorry, D-Man. I know you and our guy, but likes it red. You okay? So JD, I know it's on. I'll check it out in a minute. JD says, just get JD fired. JVT, yeah, JV, dude. JVT got hot. I know what gets him. I know what gets him kind of fired up now. When I talk about the rebellion, it's not that he dislikes them, but he just thinks that they're posers, which I don't agree with. Okay. Uh, the attendance at the games. Yeah, that got him fired up this week. It was great. Oh my God, it was great. I had a good man. I was laughing so hard. You understand. I had to like back away from the mic. It was a wrap. You know what? I can put the game on right here and stay on with you guys. Watch it on my phone. Just turn the volume down. We were, and that's how it's supposed to be. We need to do more of that, and we talked about that. And privately, and it's no big secret. We definitely need to continue the positive momentum of the show. He doesn't always agree with me when it comes to things, which is fine. I like that. Dude, that was funny when he said that. I'll just stand and make him come by me with the motherfucking tally counter and count them out myself.
And he has athleticism. He can run on the edge.
Just like that, I turn it on. USC scores. They know when Daddy's watching. I'm gonna put it right here. They know when Daddy's watching. Are they in the SEC? Actually, UNLV's. I'm telling you, get on the train. I'm gonna be the conductor and engineer and come on board. Boop, boop. Everybody can come on board the UNLV train. In fact, another good follow on Twitter is Joe Pacheco, big time Raider fan, big time sports guy, UNLV alum, but worked with me at ESPN Fresno. He was my producer and co-host. He's a very good. You talk about people staying in their SS. What's SS? Um, I know you're just messing with me, big dog. I know you're just messing with me. Um, but uh, but follow Joe Pacheco. He UNLV alum. He'll give good insight and information. A lot of good Raider stuff too. People staying in their seats. Oh yeah, seriously though. Okay, if you've been to Sam Boyd, like you got the stadium, right? You got like the lower bowl, and then it goes up and it's the press box, and then sides you got the kind of an upper bowl, and then it's like they added onto it. And there's like these seats, like where you if you seen the picture of USC's band at uh, um, Arizona, how they were in the corner and there's a bunch of empty seats. That's how this guy was. People were like, all the seats, there's seats vacant down here, and then way up here in the corner, and all this is vacant. They could just walk right down and get it, and they're sitting up there. Reb, it's like, dude, you guys are so far up, no one can hear you. I agree with them. Get your ass down there. Unless you're doing something up there you had no business doing. But even at that, you could walk your ass back up there and then walk back down. They're sitting there watching the game. It was crazy. JD, why you read? See, you read in between lines. You read in between lines. That's what I was referring to. It's already 7-0 USC. Probably sliced and diced their way down there. I can honestly say this. I'll admit this. I miss California right now. And seeing the Coliseum and seeing Staples Center last night on TV. Hey, puppy, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Oh, long run by the running back? Nice. Yeah, okay, JD. Yeah, I believe that. Sure. But the UNR game, that's going to be big. I'm looking forward to that one. But I want to get everybody out there. Nothing, pup. We're just having fun talking. That's all. Hit the thumbs up button. Yes. Thumbs up. The new format's cool. I was going to take some getting used to, but I dig it. I think it's a little more free flowing for everybody. Uh-oh. Not in SC. So you're UCLA guy? No problem. I have a good joke about the eight clap. About what eight clap really means for UCLA fans. Trey Watson, that's my dude from Corona Centennial. Nice running back. Do you know why UCLA has to refer to it as the eight clap? Because that's how many years it takes you to graduate there with the undergrad. Oh, fight on, baby. That's cold. I love it. Uh, You had respect for the families. That's cool. Shoot. I'm gonna leave all these up too, by the way. There goes a Dory. Um, I'm gonna leave all these up. Um, these will be our little shows. We'll do one a day, at least one a day. Sometimes more. So, oh wow, D-Wade put up 22 tonight. It was weird. I seen the game or uh, the Chicago Center and how many people were there tonight or how many people weren't there. That's shameful. That's shameful. Bold prediction: 8-8 wins in the AFC South. Shoot, it may be 7-9. Wouldn't surprise me. Kern, welcome. There you go. I can't wait for that. I'll have my brother on. He'll be the first one. I'll have Brack on. I'll have Bossy on. Uh-oh, he's out there gang banging in here. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe, and then you can, when you subscribe, if you click the little bell on there, you click on that, and when we do these things, it'll give you the alert like you would get Periscope. So it'll alert you. Carolina has a goal to get to 100 people to subscribe to this channel. He's got that goal. So, okay, maybe you guys in Nevada can help me. Why are the kids off of school tomorrow? What the hell is Nevada Day? Is this? I've never heard of anything like it. There's not 100 people that subscribe to this, and I'm not buying anybody lap dances. I'll give you lap dances. Oh, no, that was a joke. I think I had like 3 going into this, 4 going into the day. uh, 35. Okay. Thank you. They don't celebrate Columbus Day? You serious? Oh, wow. When you click on the button above, George, um, when you click on the button above, it'll have the like bell. It'll alert you. Statehood Day. Okay. So I didn't know. Like I didn't know anything about it. Like I called the school today because my youngest son Peanut's been out of school for the week. He's been really sick, as I've told you guys, and he's I called to say, oh, I can pick up his homework tomorrow, and they're like, well, we don't have school tomorrow. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I had to go take care of that today. I like to see USC air it out right here. My first guess, LX, I think it's gonna be my brother. It's gonna be Brack, and we can talk about X's and O's and football stuff and all kinds of different things. Maybe Vinny. I may get Vinny on. I don't know. They got to win. against Faith Lutheran that I think they got to win out. Tough year so far. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. What about 2-6? Oh, he'll be banned from this. Please believe me. Mistype, hit the bell and notify every time he goes live or uploads a video. That's true. You're taking some of 62's market. Oh, really? Or 2-6's market? Whatever. I don't care. Why do I care? Have I ever? Nah. Not at all. It's just, no, I had the page set up. Like, here's how it all went down. Oh, man, I want to see this kid. It's his chest, especially with his shoulder. Hold on. Ooh, it's his shoulder. Oh, you caught that on the pod. See, I'm gonna drop something every podcast. You guys like that, but I digress. What we'll do is the Monday before we record the podcast, you guys give me you give me a word or a phrase, and I will work it into the podcast. So every Monday we'll do that, okay? That'll be our little thing for our little inner circle. Confessions. Dagwood. Dagwood. I like the Humpty Hump thing on there. You gave him some fake info as a comment on one of his old videos. He took it and read it. Oh, wow. Passion bucket. Okay, we got to do it Monday. Monday we'll do the thing. We'll put it out there Monday. And it will be what phrase or word do we want to use? And then I'll work it into the podcast. And don't forget to subscribe. Yes. So yeah. So here's the deal. I created the channel about a month or two ago. I think it was right before the opening weekend of the football season. And I wasn't sure how this would work. The YouTube channel, because I knew I couldn't. It said I had to download software on my computer. Now I can delete all that, thank God. But I was like, how do I use my phone? I'm like, this sucks. There's got to be a way for me to use my computer. And Carolina introduced me a week or so ago to the Will to Win group. My man Kingdom, King hit me up. Was like, yo, like, I talked to him about it, like maybe doing something and putting it together, as far as showing me how to do it. Because I didn't know. My nephew, he goes, I just use my phone. Or we use a camera and we download it. And once that happened, that's how this got started. So we were supposed to do it yesterday, but I mean, schedules just got busy. So when you guys raise enough money, I have the headphones, but when you guys want to raise enough money for me to get a mic, let's go ahead and make that happen. That's going to be on you guys. I don't have dough for that. You want me to get a mic, a USB mic? Start a GoFundMe. GoFundMe. That'll be on you guys. But we got to get to the 100 people first before we even get to that point. We want to get to the 100 first. That's going to be our first benchmark. We get to 100. And then what that means is, if something happens to where we do get to ESPN, or when we do get to ESPN, you guys, I will do the show live with the computer on, so you guys can be interactive on the show as well through the computer versus a Periscope. We'll do it through, so it'll be on the Facebook channel, or excuse me, the YouTube channel. Oh, look, you guys got Will to win already he's already doing his thing. Look at this. So let's get to the 100 first, and we'll go from there. We got to subscribe, and I thank you all very much for subscribing to this already. I really do. It really means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart because no matter what happens with the stadium, and I was going to say this for another time to be sappy with you. But no matter what happens with the stadium, whether or not it ends up going through, which I believe it is, I've made a lot of good friends. I've met a lot of good people. And I'm very grateful. I'm very humbled by that. And I thank you. This has been a very, very nice experience. And you guys make it that way. And I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. Yes, I trust the process. I always trust the process. I tell you what, the Texas Tesla, and I'm glad that he's getting going. Ronald Jones has to get going for SC. I'm glad he's getting going tonight. Knight's the man. Pirate 2. Appreciate that, Knight. We'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what happens. You got to see the soft side of me. So I guess boss was right. I am soft, right? Am I losing confidence regarding the Raiders coming? Not at all. And we can talk about that a little bit right now. I said all along it's going to be a roller coaster, especially right after the Nevada government approved everything. Nice. I do, Ken. I do. But I knew at that point, once national writers get involved and after the bill signing, that it's going to be this way. It was like that way in LA. And it was LA versus Carson. And you could see that Carson just wasn't viable. So for me, this is it's repeat all over again. So I'm not losing confidence. I did talk to somebody today, and they simply said to me, it's all going down the right path. The train is not derailed. There's nothing to worry about. Pass that along. So so yeah, just I'll hold on tight. It is needed. That's what I kept saying is there's issues between them as far as the revenue split. That's what needs to be clarified between those two. After that, it's probably smooth sailing. I'll put it to you like this. They're already working on a proposal together. And I'll say this. If the Raiders move here, I'm going to keep saying if, because nothing is certain until all I's are dotted and T's are crossed. It wouldn't surprise me in some capacity if Jeremy Aguayo was involved with the Raiders. That's just me thinking out loud. I don't know anything, but it wouldn't surprise me. And I think it would be a good thing. UNLC, who was at UNLV when? The roller coaster will be ride will be over when it is announced one way or another that they would be able to relocate or not. That's when it's over. When the NFL, let's say they say, yes, it's going to happen and it's signed off, that's when it's over. No, Jeremy is the person that basically made sure all the monies and it was the chief negotiator between the SNTIC and the Sands Group and everything else. I think Uncle Shelly, I like that one. I think he was taking more of a shot at Roger Goodell than anything. I don't think it was The Economist, yes. I don't think it was a shot at the NFL. I think it's a shot at Roger Goodell for the way he does things. Period. Tex, talking about Hooters and stuff. Are you from Ed's program now? That's what Ed does. That's all Ed talks about is midgets and Hooters. I could see that too. The gambling stance. I could see them. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with the Nevada Gaming Commission too. I was let you guys know that they're trying to work out, trying to get Daily Fantasy in the state. Because did you guys see that Daily Fantasy has taken a loss? They've been taking a loss. You're gonna tell me they don't want to get into Las Vegas or Nevada, the state? I think they do. No, he didn't. I don't know if it's a done deal, but Knights will be in there. I don't know what the name is. I haven't really been, on that train for a minute. I think it's dope that we're getting a hockey team here, but I don't think it's I don't know. I'm not. I would rely on Corp, Steve, to be the guy to answer that. I mean, but what else was he going to be able to name? I mean, the Desert Knights. I mean, he wants Knights in there. That's his thing. He's an Army guy, right? And they're the Black Knights or whatever. Ed is EM 97. That's who Ed is. Ed's always the one cracking jokes, talking about beer and hunting and things like that. Yeah, but I mean, what would you, D-Man? What would you name the team then? What would you name the team then? Yeah, it is his company's name as well too. And don't forget, we got Knight in here from Will to Win. So I mean, you can't talk about the name Knight like it's a bad thing. Look at Marvell Tell. I remember him at Crespi, hell of a ball player. I was so excited when they got him. Crespi's in LA. It's a school in LA. Dark Knights, Silver Knights, Dark Knights. They can walk around with the Batman signal on them if it's a Dark Knights. He dotted the I on that. What a hell of an interception. The unis are I mean, they're probably gonna be right. The Jedi Knights. I'd rock with that. I'd fox with that. The Jedi Knights. They come out with a dude with a robe. The Sith. That'd be a dope name for a team. The Sith Lords. Reggie hanging at the Waffle House. Raider Knights. How does the stadium vote benefit the owners that vote yes? Well, it opens up the market for them. It's an and I know people talk about. I know the Stay in Oakland faction talks about the um, losing the bigger market, number 6 media market to 47 or whatever it is, 42, whatever. Uh, but they still have that Bay Area market in San Francisco. So they have another market then in Las Vegas. It opens up, I mean, the revenue splits that comes from everybody. I mean, from Vegas, they get that money there. They get the money from the expansion, or not the expansion, the relocation fees. Um, it's they get the new stadium. So when the Super Bowl or stuff gets played here, keep in mind, anytime there's a new stadium, um, anytime there's a new stadium or any stadium in general, 60% of the gate goes to the home team, 40 goes to the road team or the NFL. So you're getting higher ticket prices. Um, it's all in all, it makes it a better experience. And the bottom line is the NFL wants to see Mark Davis and continue to increase the value of his team. And the reason why they want to have him increase the value of his team is if his team goes up in value, the other teams go up in value. So let's say he raised it next year to $2.7 billion. Okay. That would mean the Cowboys move over to like $5.3 billion. So, I mean, if you look at it, that's kind of the way that they view it. Is like he's got to increase the revenue of the Raiders and maximize on the local dollars. And if you look at the market, I mean, and people that live in Vegas, and I'm not sure if you live in Vegas, LX, but the market is really starting to boom and explode. Like this is a city that is on the verge of drastically increasing its market size, and especially with all the new jobs coming into play, and the revitalization of the economy in Las Vegas, it's actually on an increase. And Vegas is all about, and it has been for quite some time, all about um, changing and remaking themselves. Um, and that's what they're doing right now. They're moving away from just being known for hotels and gambling, because gambling has been down. Sports books have been down the last 15 years. So they're moving away from that and getting into more of the dining and the shows and the concerts and that type. They're becoming a more mature market and more family friendly as well. So um, why is the argument market? Why is the argument regarding market size and not ratings? Because market size means they can charge more for local dollars and national dollars when it comes to uh, actually charging. Let's say you own a business and I have a team and I'm in Oakland, I could charge $1,200 a month for ad revenue versus $800 a month. But it's it's a little bit different considering the numbers are down, and part of it is digital media, part of it is people. I mean, I seen that over, like, I think it was like 7 million people, when is it, I'll tie this all in, watched The Walking Dead on Saturday night, something like there's like 7 million or 12 million or something like that. But there was like 1.5 million people that streamed it illegally, and it keeps going up. So it comes down to the revenue, and it comes down to um, the bigger people paying more money for revenue, higher end revenue, I guess. So, uh, Joe, are the Raiders still talking to Sam Boyd? Um, Oh, and Carolina just kind of touched on that too. Um, okay, Alex, my bad. Yeah, so you know. Okay, so you already know. Um, uh, Dagwood, you know what, bro? They are, but it's a contingency plan. Uh, they want to make all your I's have to be dotted and T's have to be crossed. So, with that being said, is it something that's going to happen? I can't tell you it's going to happen, but I can say that there is a contingency plan in place, and that's what needs to happen. With any type of business decision or business deal, there has to be a contingency plan in place, and that's exactly what they did. Um, Not, I stick by my story. I know what you're referring to. I stick by my story. I stick by my, or not even story. I stick by my article, my report, um, with my sources. Um, I may have been a little vague in how she said it and didn't describe it thoroughly. It was more of a, from my understanding, from what my sources say, it was more of a, you're upset, so you say something in haste. Um, but it doesn't necessarily mean she means it. We all say things when we're hurt and disappointed. And at that point, I mean, you got to understand, she didn't believe that the state was going to pass this bill, and she thought that that was going to be her trump card, no pun intended. And that card got pulled. Her card got pulled, and now she don't have a card that she can play with the Raiders and with Mark Davis as far as, well, you don't have the stadium fund, you don't have the funds in Las Vegas. Well, he does. He's got $1.4 billion worth of money coming into law. That's being shown to him right now. That's on the table. So, uh, but I doubt that happens. I mean, you know, in my, again, I had reached out to the city on multiple occasions. I haven't reached out to him since, but I have reached out to them on multiple occasions to get no and got no response. Appreciate that. Carolina says the Oakland location is dragging down the high-end revenue, corporate money, and sponsorships. Looking when ODOT was there 2.5 million a year for two teams, 91 games, and Levi 11 million a year for one team, 10 games. Yeah, and just it's real estate. You also location, location, location. I can't preach that enough. Location, location, location. And I'm not trying to dump on Oakland, but if people want to if people have the option to put something in Santa Clara or Oakland, I'm pretty sure they're going to choose Santa Clara. A newer stadium with a fan base that doesn't necessarily have the same reputation, whether it's correct or it's false, that the Raiders have, and that's unfortunately part of the case, and that goes into conversations like this that get talked about. Um, did I read? Yeah, I did read the article about the some public funds, and he was said that's not going to happen. From my understanding, that's what was submitted according to the article. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You know, um, I think it's interesting, and yet it wasn't addressed by the anti-Las Vegas, pro-Oakland people. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It wasn't a. It was. I have to. The people that from what I've heard, people have said to me that the response was, I have to check that out. I have to see if that's valid or that's true or not. Um, so I don't know. I mean, again, that's not my deal. Um, not that it is what it is. I can't really say too much about that other than it's not my deal. Well, yeah, the Raiders are they're not charging a lot, and they're not maximizing their dollar, and that's something the NFL wants them to see. That was one of their big beefs with Al Davis, is Al never maximized the dollar amount that he had. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Napa this year. I'm almost certain it's going to be in Napa. I would plan on it being in Napa. Oh, I'm not saying that they haven't tried. I'm just saying it's just the reality of what it is right now. I mean, it is. They may have tried, but it didn't happen. It's not happening. So because of that, and look at the other teams that are there. I mean, if it's such a great environment and area, and damn, Midori is so freaking smooth. If it's such a great place to be at, why are the Warriors moving to San Francisco? Why are the A's trying to move to Mission Bay? And why are the Raiders trying to get the hell out of Oakland entirely? Legitimate question. I'm not saying it's right or they're right for it, but it's a legitimate question. I'm not the same be no different if there was Vegas, the shoe was on the other foot, I would be saying the same thing. If Vegas is so great, why are they trying to leave the city? It may be a good place for a single man, but single men don't spend money. They don't have the disposable income that they would really like. D-Man said it's not a safe feeling compared to other stadiums we've gone to. A lot of people have said that. You're not the only one. But if you're not from Oakland and you say that, you must be soft, according to some people. You have to ask your wives for money. That's true. You have to ask her for money and if it's okay for you to go. Babe, is it cool if I go to the Raider game and take maybe $150? The boys got the tickets. Just want some beer money and some some food money, and we're gonna tailgate a little bit. I mean, but okay, I'll use it like this. I'm gonna give you guys some radio sales 101 real quick. Here's what it is. The reason why, if you are going to be a radio station owner or a program director and you're flipping formats, you want to be, the format you want is the top 40 format. So hits of today, the pop stuff, and it's pretty much a mixture of everything. The reason being is you may not be number one in your market overall, but you'll be number 2 or 3, but you'll be number 1 in all kinds of different demographics. But the main one is women 25, 18 to, or 25 to 45, the soccer mom demo, because they spend money. You want to be, if you're a rock station, you want that 18 to 25 male, that young demo. For Sports Talk, you get that 18 to 65 male. With Adult AC, it's that 45 to 65 female. So you want to have that top 40 brings them all in together, and you can pull all of them and charge more for your unit per unit that you have. Versus you have doing a rock format or even a hip hop format. That's another one that you're 12 plus. The young kids, you're going to be through the roof. You're 18 plus, you're going to be through the roof. But you're 25 to 35 plus, you're not going to be as big or as high because most people are starting to calm down then. So, there's a little radio one-on-one for you. That's why you look at the disposable income for everything. And you look at that top 40 and that being the most successful format for your station to be branded with. And that's why that's the format to use, honestly. So there's a little radio 101 for you. That's why, Sports Sox, they get good, you get good perks. But as far as the sales force, they can sell that to certain, bars, things, gentlemen's clubs and things like that. But you don't get, and I mean, obviously car dealerships, but you go more car dealerships, restaurants, clubs, clothing stores, um, uh, stereo shops, things of that. And you get more of that when you go top 40. And that's why you build that format. If you don't have a top 40 in your market or in your area, and you want to buy a radio station, flip to that format, you're going to get rich quick and stay rich. Country's another good one too. That's probably like number 2. Those are the 2 top formats you can make money off of. Top 40 and country. News talk really don't pay well because nobody wants to. Well, people do want to hear politics talk, but nobody wants to advertise on it. And it's no different with the football. Now, I'll tie it into the Raiders. It's no different with the Raiders, because what ends up happening then is, if your target demo basically is 18 plus, you get the rowdy kids, the rowdy people, the 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds that are just out the box crazy, just trying to get hammered, get drunk, and have a good time. But then that turns into something else going on. It happens at every stadium. But that you get that, people don't want to come. And at that point, you're kind of like, I'd rather stay at home, grab my whiskey or my scotch or my brandy or my 12 pack and throw some carne on the grill and call it a day. That would be the thing that I think most people would prefer, especially as they're getting older and they have young kids. They can invite the homies over, they can invite their friends and their family, and they all can hang out and have a good time amongst each other and go from there. Hope I didn't bore you with that radios talk. It's just, that's sales 101 for radio. So it's my connection. Anyway, guys, I've been doing this for a while, and it seems like the things tested out okay. Might do it later tonight. We'll see what happens. I got some things I got to take care of. Even with the USC game on, I'll have a honey-do list. Thank you all for joining me. Pass the word along. Knight, thank you for the fix for the night till we figure this thing out. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your night. Okay? Talk to you all soon. Tell a friend to subscribe. Inside the Rebels. Have a great night.